E.N.D here, day 1 for the spoilers of Bloomburrow, the set with so many adorable creatures that will surely melt your heart. Anyway, let's start. And as always, I'm going to start with the most important cards, the Mythic cards. Warren, War Leader, 2 and 2 white, 4/4, Offspring 2. Offspring 2 means that you may pay an additional 2 generic mana as you cast the spell. If you do, when this creature enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 token copy of it. It's just creating a child. Whenever this creature attacks, choose 1. Create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token that's stepped and attacking. Attacking creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Season of Weaving, 4 and 2 blue sorcery. Choose up to 5 paws worth of mode. You may choose the same mode more than once. For 1 paw, draw a card. For 2 paw, choose an artifact or creature you control. Create a token that's a copy of it. For 3 paws, return each non-land, non-token permanent to its owner's hand. Basically, you can draw 5 cards, or choose the second option twice and draw a card, or choose the second option once and draw 3 cards, or choose the second option and the third option, or a combination of the 3 of them. Maha, It Feathers Knight, 3 and 2 black, 6/5, flying, trample, ward, discard a card. Creatures your opponent controls have base toughness of Knight. A quite scary bird. Igra, Eater of All, 3/1 black and 1 green, 6/6, ward, sacrifice a food. Other creatures are food artifacts in addition to their other types and have 2 generic mana. Tap, sacrifice this permanent, you gain 3 life. Whenever a food is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Glarb, Calamity Ogre, 1 black, 1 green and 1 blue, 2/4, Death Touch. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play lands and cast spells with mana value 4 or greater from the top of your library. Tap, Surveil 2. Ral, Crackling Wit, for 2, 1 blue and 1 red, legendary Planeswalker Ral. Don't get fooled from his utter appearance. 4 loyalty counters. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a loyalty counter on it. +1, create a 1/1 blue and red otter creature token with prowess. -3, draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards. -10, draw 3 cards, you get an emblem with instants and sorcery spells you cast have Storm. Valley Quest Caller, for 1 and 1 white, 2/3. Whenever 1 or more other rabbits, bats, bears and or mice you control enters the battlefield, scry 1. Other rabbits, bats, bears and mice you control get +1/+1. Osteomancer Adept, for 1 and 1 black, 2/2, Squirrel, Death Touch. Tap, until end of turn you may cast creature spells from your graveyard by foraging in addition to paying their other cost. If you cast a spell this way, that creature enters the battlefield with a finality counter on it. 2 forage means exile 3 cards from your graveyard or sacrifice a food. Artist Talent, for 1 and 1 red, enchantment class. Last time we saw enchantment classes were in Dungeons and Dragons. Level 1, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Level 2, for 2 and 1 red, non-creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Level 3, an additional 2 and 1 red. If a source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage +2 instead. Camellia, Deceit Miser, for 1, 1 black and 1 green, 3/3, another squirrel. Menace. Other squirrels you control have menace. Whenever you sacrifice 1 or more foods, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. For 2, forage, put a +1/+1 counter on each other squirrel you control. Castral, the Wind Crested, for 3, 1 white and 1 blue, 4/5 with flying. Whenever 1 or more birds you control deals combat damage to a player, choose 1. You may put a bird creature card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Put a +1/+1 counter on each bird you control, draw a card. Muera, Trash Tactician, for 1, 1 red and 1 green, 2/4. At the beginning of your first main phase, add 1 red or 1 green mana for each raccoon you control. Whenever you expend 4, you gain 3 life. You expend 4 as you spend your 4 total mana to cast spells during a turn. Whenever you expend 8, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. Phoenix Ace Archer, 1 green and 1 white, 2/4, Vigilance, Reach. Whenever it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control that's a token or a rabbit. Then, if creatures you control have total power 10 or greater, draw a card. Alania, Diver Storm, 3, 1 blue and 1 red, 3/5. Whenever you cast a spell, if it's the first instant spell, the first sorcery spell, or the first otter spell, you may have target opponent draw a card. If you do, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. 3/3 City, Legendary Land. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Tap, add 1 colorless mana. 2. Tap, choose a color. Add an amount of mana of that color equal to the number of creatures you control of the chosen type. Ideal for tribal. Parting Gust, 2 white mana, instant, gift a tapped fish. You may promise an opponent a gift as you cast the spell. If you do, they create a tapped 1/1 blue fish creature token before its other effects. Exile target non-token creature. If the gift wasn't promised, return the creature to battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. Flowerfoot Swordmaster for 1 white, 1/2, Offspring 2. Valiant, whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, mice you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Fireglass Mentor for 1 black and 1 red, 2/1. At the beginning of your second main phase, if an opponent lost life this turn, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Choose one of them. Until end of turn, you may play that card. Seedglaive Mentor for 1 red and 1 white, 3/2. Vigilance Haste. Whenever it becomes the target of a spell or ability for the first time each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Lily Splash Mentor for 2 1 green and 1 blue, 4/4. Reach. For 1 1 green and 1 blue, exile another target creature control, then return it to battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Activate only as a sorcery. Plum Creed Mentor for 1 white and 1 blue, 2/3 with flying. Whenever it or another creature you control with flying enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control without flying. Tight Collar Mentor for 1 blue and 1 black, 3/3 with menace. When it enters the battlefield, if 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, return up to 1 target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Star Seer Mentor for 3 1 white and 1 black, 3/5, Flying Vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained or lost life this turn, target opponent loses 3 life unless they sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card. Basic lands, full art basic lands to be precisely. Bloomburrow will have 4 different versions for each basic land representing the 4 seasons, starting with the plains, the islands, the swamp, the mountains, and the forest. Gorgeous full art basic lands. Commander, Bloomburrow will have 4 pre-constructed commander decks. Peace Offering. Its commander, Miss Bumbleflower, for 1 green, 1 white and 1 blue, 1/5 with Vigilance. Whenever you cast a spell, target opponent draws a card, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains flying until end of turn. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, you draw 2 cards. Animated Army. Its commander, Bello, Bard of the Brambles, for 1 red and 1 green, 3/3. During your turn, each non-equipment artifact and non-aura enchantment you control with mana value 4 or greater is a 4/4 elemental creature in addition to its other types and has indestructible, haste, and whenever this creature does combat damage to a player, you draw a card. Family Matters. Its commander, Vin Diesel. Joking. Xenia Veli's Voice for 1 blue, 1 red and 1 white, 1/3 with flying. It gets +X+0 where X is the number of other creatures you control with base power 1. Creature spells you cast have Offspring 2. Last but not least, Squirreled Away. Its commander, Hazel of the Rue Bloom. 2 1 black and 1 green, 3/5. Tap, pay to life, tap X untap tokens you control, add X mana in any combination of colors. At the beginning of your end step, create a token that's a copy of target token you control. If the token is a squirrel, instead create 2 tokens that are copies of it. But wait, there is more. In these commander decks, you may find popular planeswalkers imagined as critters, Tamio Field Researcher and Jace the Mind Sculptor. Last but not least, special guest. One of these cards is Sword of Fire and Ice, and really and truly I love this cute artwork. So that was the last card in this particular day 1 for the spoilers of Bloomburrow. Join me again tomorrow for more spoilers regarding this cute set. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more and more interesting videos about Magic the Gathering and the collectible world.